Roger Ebert built his legacy on honesty. Whether he was praising cinematic masterpieces like 2001, A Space Odyssey, or dismantling overhyped blockbusters, his reviews were never afraid to challenge the crowd. Yet, among his long list of surprising opinions, few are as baffling and oddly endearing as his love for Anaconda, 1997 jungle creature feature boasting a mere 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. For a critic renowned for his insight and taste, Ebert's 3.5/4-star review of Anaconda feels like a fever dream, and yet, it's one that makes perfect sense once you understand the man behind the pen. The 90s and the rise of the ridiculous. The 1990s were a cinematic playground where prestige and pulp often collided. Filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and David Fincher were redefining cool, while Steven Spielberg continued delivering blockbuster brilliance. But beneath the awards chatter and auteur debates, B-movies were thriving, especially in the creature feature genre. Anaconda, directed by Luis Llosa, swam into this strange moment in 1997, boasting a cast that included Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson, and a deliciously unhinged Jon Voight. The plot is pure pulp. A film crew ventures into the Amazon to document a remote tribe, but ends up as bait for a massive killer snake, manipulated by Voight's deranged poacher, Paul Serwan. Equal parts terrifying and unintentionally hilarious, Anaconda embraced its absurdity, without apology. The film's campy tone and overblown performances made it easy for critics to dismiss, but for Ebert, that was exactly the point. Why? Ebert loved Anaconda. In his Chicago Sun-Times review, Ebert famously wrote, "Anaconda did not disappoint me. It's a slick, scary, funny creature feature, beautifully photographed and splendidly acted in high adventure style." Where other critics saw trash, Ebert saw craft. He admired the film's polish, praising its cinematography, atmosphere, and self-aware sense of fun. To him, Anaconda wasn't trying to be Jaws, it was simply trying to be the best Anaconda it could be. Ebert went further, calling it a superior mass audience entertainment with big laughs, quirky dialogue, and a gruesome imagination. Coming from the critic who often championed Taxi Driver and Apocalypse Now, that's quite the endorsement. But Ebert's rating system was always contextual. He judged films by their ambitions within their genre, not by comparing popcorn flicks to prestige dramas. For him, Anaconda was a success because it delivered exactly what it promised: adventure, suspense, and a giant snake that looked both terrifying and ridiculous. A critic who loved adventure. Ebert had a well-documented soft spot for adventure and pulp cinema. He was one of the few defenders of Congo and the Phantom, and often praised directors who embraced classic thrills without pretension. Anaconda, with its lush jungle setting, old-school adventure pacing, and blend of horror and humor, fit perfectly into that mold. He also had a deep appreciation for filmmakers who committed to their worlds. Luis Llosa, who previously directed Sniper, impressed Ebert with his sense of atmosphere and energy. The critic even commended the film's creature design, noting that much of its success came down to the skill of the filmmakers in creating a convincing, physical menace rather than relying solely on computer effects. The legacy of a guilty pleasure. In hindsight, Anaconda's reputation has evolved. What was once considered schlock is now embraced as a nostalgic gem of the 90s, a time capsule of cheesy fun and practical effects. Voight's exaggerated accent and sinister grin have become memes, while the film's over-the-top kills are celebrated by horror fans for their audacious creativity. The movie even spawned sequels and spin-offs, eventually colliding with Lake Placid in an outrageous crossover that leaned fully into its B-movie roots. Now, nearly 3 decades later, a new reboot is in development starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd, proof that this so-bad-it's-good classic still has a pulse. Ebert's lasting lesson. Ebert's defense of Anaconda wasn't just about the film, it was about his philosophy as a critic. He believed that joy and craftsmanship could exist anywhere, even in the belly of a 40-foot snake. His review reminds us that film criticism isn't about gatekeeping good taste, but celebrating the art of entertainment in all its forms. For all its rubbery monsters, melodrama, and campy dialogue, Anaconda dared to be what it was, fun. And that, more than anything, was enough for Roger Ebert.